Let's mount up.
All right, let's do this. There we go. Oh, no. Oh!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, bro. Yes.
Opposite three whip to table. Perfect landing. Come on. Oh, wow. Oh, hello, and welcome. If you like mountain biking, you came to the right place. I'm looking around right now and I see some gigantic mountains. That can mean only one thing. We're hanging out in Innsbruck, Austria. Zoom it on in. There we are. Do you see us? We're doing something a little bit different this year. We're kicking off the 2022 Crankworx World Tour right here in the middle of the Tyrolean Alps. Usually the location comes in the middle of the season, but we're starting this season here. And it's an exciting season because we got fans on hand again. We got the best riders in the world, and we're right in the middle of the day one of broadcast competition. We had some dual slalom action this morning. We want to pack it in as much as we can, as much action as we possibly can into day one of competition, so we're going to be doing some pump track today. I'm going to be your host. My name is Cam McCall, and I'm going to hang out with my buddy over here, Andrew Needling. Andrew, pump track time.
Well, it's our fun event. Thanks for having me, Cam. And you guys had quite the morning with slalom. I tuned in. The rain came down, but that's actually going to help the pump track, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like if you were to water the pump track, you would water it just the same amount as it rained today. But the dual slalom was another story. It was raining cats and dogs, and it really made for an interesting event. Were you watching?
I was watching on the broadcast. You guys did an awesome job. But it's nice to see it getting spiced up with the rain. It obviously makes conditions way more slippery and inconsistent. So you guys had a lot of crashes, some people missing gates as well, but it was action-packed.
Let's take a trip down memory lane because this morning was nuts. It was a normal race to start the day, and all of a sudden the skies opened up, and the riders who decided to choose the enduro bikes all of a sudden were the ones to beat. We had George Brannigan and Andreas Kolb. In the final for the men, we had Valet Hall and Nina Hoffman for the final in the women's. It was full-on downhill racer version of a dual slalom race, and it came down to the wire. We had people sliding out. We had people missing gates, and anybody who was betting on that race probably was sweating as well, sweating while they're betting. So you can see right now, there's some nice light happening on that pump track course this evening. It's a beautiful evening showing up here to, actually embrace the fact that we have a crowd. Turns out when the rain is falling, people don't like to just hang out alongside a dual slalom track. But this is another case today. We got a complete crowd here. We're going to be cheering on the riders on this course you're checking out this 3D model of right now. This course has existed here since 2018. 8 berms, a pretty cleverly designed track. Your starting straightaway is also your finish straightaway with 8 berms in between. And it's a pump track race, so no chain. How does that even work? If you haven't watched a pump track race before, it works really well, actually.
Yeah, and you're going to ride alongside your competitor twice, in one lap. And that's obviously a little bit of mind games can play into it, because if you're a little bit behind, you're going to see that right then and there, and you might get a bit tense, make a mistake.
The fact that this is the 5th year in a row we've had this same identical course means that the veterans in the field who have competed here, maybe won here, they have some tricks up their sleeves and some strategies coming into this specific course. We caught up with Kialani Buchanan about the finish straight. This is what she had to say.
The finish is uphill in this pump track. So where the beams are, and when I've won in the past, the final manual and actual stretch can be won and lost in the race. So yeah, that's one of the key moments to this race.
So we're going to pick up our broadcast here right smack dab at the start of the round of 8, which means we've already gone through the round of 16. If you're bummed out that you missed that action, don't worry. We just condensed it for you. We cut a nice little highlight package, and we're going to reminisce right now. Let's check this out. So round of 16, we're going to take a look right now at Casey Voicey going up against Keilani Hines. Keilani looking strong with that #1 qualification spot.
Yeah, she'll be looking to go one better than she did last year, where she got the silver medal. But in Rotorua 2021, which was the end of last year's season, she did take that gold medal. So she's going to look to go one better here in Innsbruck.
We just heard from Kialani Buchanan, but this is the way it goes in these bracketed races. You can have a run in the round of 16 that could be a final. Caroline Buchanan going up against Via Verbeek here.
Yeah, our queen of Crankworx, but Via is nursing an injury, so she wasn't quite on top of her game here in pump track, but she is going against Caroline Buchanan, who's back in action here at the Crankworx World Tour, and she has something like 5 wins in pump track.
Yeah, Caroline Buchanan, it's amazing to have her back on the scene here at Crankworx. She's definitely been, going through a lot to be able to get back to full health, and just watching her in practice and in slalom earlier today, she is back in full force. We'll also see her tomorrow for the speed and style, but right now we're taking a look at the New Zealand rider, Jenna Hastings, a youngster, going up against Paula Zabasa.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see the youngsters here at Crankworx. It's often launched many a career, the likes of Troy Brosnan, and we'll see some of the guys in the men later on. They've also been at Crankworx World Tour for a long time.
Well, it's so cool, just that last clip in the highlights there, seeing Jenna Hastings, the youngster out of New Zealand. She had the bronze medal, the last World Tour stop in Rotorua last year, and she's going up against Buchanan. So we got the youngster on the scene going up against the returning vet. That's going to be great. Buchanan with that 3rd place qualification, Hastings in 6th. And at the top of that bracket, Keilani Hines going up against the new Polish rider, Niels, who's, you were checking out some of her Instagram. She's got a bit of a jump background, right?
Yeah, she's doing slopestyle a little bit. She's doing dirt jump. I saw some awesome videos. The thing what might help her a little bit is she spends a lot of time on this bike, and some of these other riders, they ride different disciplines, so they don't ride the bike as often as maybe she does, the lady from Poland.
We'll also see Harriet Burbidge-Smith. If you were watching this morning, you remembered seeing her in the slalom. She qualified 5th here. Down the last bracket will be Jordy Scott going up against Kathy Kuipers. But right now, top of the start order, Keilani Hines on the left side of your screen. Natalia Niedzwiecz from Poland on the right. Keilani, number 1 qualifier. All the pressure on her shoulders right now as Niedzwiecz is looking to accomplish a little bit of an upset here. All right, we're racing, Andrew. Here we go.
Good start from Keilani. She is out front already. Now this is where it gets interesting, because you don't want to get complacent, even if you're the number 1 qualifying, even if you're out front.
Yeah, the track's looking good. I mean, it's drying out nicely. We usually see a pretty dusty track here for the pump track, but this rain is paying off. Keilani Hines by 0.7.
So she will have that advantage when they switch lanes and they'll do another run against each other. Best combined time obviously will advance to the next round, which will be the semi-finals.
Just keep chopping this field in half. We're at 8 right now. We'll go down to 4. And then give out some gold, silver, and bronze medals. Harriet Burbidge-Smith in the gate, the number 5 qualifier, going up against Sheilyn Reno out of America. Sheilyn Reno, the number 13 qualifier. Let's see if she has what it takes to take out Harriet Burbidge-Smith.
So Burbidge-Smith in the number 5 qualifier. So on paper should have a little bit more pace than Sheilyn Reno. But it is all to play for here in the first heat here, round of 8. And Harriet coming a little bit ahead here in the last straight, which is good, so she'll take that advantage.
It's a tight one there, 0.26, a quarter of a second separating your leader, Harriet Burbidge-Smith from Reno. Not Harriet Burbidge-Smith from Reno, but she's ahead of the rider whose last name is Reno.
From the United States of America.
We hope she's from Reno. We got to find out. There she is. Caroline Buchanan, no stranger to not only the podium, but the top step of the podium when it comes to Crankworx pump track competition. This is a little bit overwhelming, so I'm just going to give you a chance to just admire that for a second.
Yeah, I think we can all just take that in. If you add that up, that is 5 first place gold medals. She has literally a whole cupboard full of those. You know what that does remind me of? Another lady that we used to see, Jill Kittner. Both of them used to go head-to-head for those wins. So this is awesome to see her back in action, and there you have it. Look at her times of the day.
Look at that. So Keilani Hines, number 1 qualifier, but it's all about the long game. If Caroline Buchanan has put down the fastest time of the day, She may be the one to watch here. Smart qualifying. She's sitting in third right now, and that bracket puts her up against the youngster, Jenna Hastings, the Kiwi.
Great start from Jenna. Is she going to be able to put a bit of pressure? She's needing it out here going into that turn. So it's all to play for here. Keilani Buchanan, a little bit of pressure on her. Jenna Hastings, the youngster from New Zealand, will take the win here.
Yes. Wow. Look at that. Jenna Hastings, the sixth place qualifier, the bronze medalist from the last World Tour stop in Rotorua 2021. Look at that. You just beat the rider with the fastest time of the day, Jenna Hastings.
Yeah, nothing to lose for Jenna Hastings. Awesome first heat there.
All right. We got the proper gate cadence here. Kathy Kuiper's going up against Jordy Scott.
The ladies are dropping fast and furious here. Jordy Scott, the winner of a speed and style event, but not quite had huge results in pump track. Can it be different this year after qualifying second? Kuiper's also with that speed and style background, trying to keep her honest here, but it's not going to be enough in this first heat.
So there you have it. Jordy Scott crossing the finish line over a second ahead of Kathy Kuiper's. Jordy Scott is that second place qualifier, so she's got the pace right now. There we go. We're already one run into our quarterfinals. We'll get them back up to the top of the course, switch sides, and like you said, Andrew, fastest combined time at the end of those two runs moves into the next round, the round of four, also known as the semifinals. Good way to kick things off here at the RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck. So a crazy thing when you start crunching the statistics now that we've been here for 6 years in Innsbruck, Austria. There's only been 2 winners in the men's category at Innsbruck Pump Track. Take a look there, Andrew.
Yeah, we have it. It has been a French domination here. Cheney Gannett and Adrian Laurent. Look at those staggering numbers. No one else has been able to do it here in Innsbruck.
But...
oh, I was waiting. There's a bit of a cliffhanger. But we will not be seeing those guys. Why don't we catch up with what happened, though? Cheney Gannett going up against Colin Hudson of the USA. Huge upset here in the round of 16.
So Colin Hudson, knowing that he just knocked out one of only 2 people to win this competition. And then what happened when Bas Van Steenbergen went up against Kaya Hearn here? Are we going to have another upset? Okay, Bas looks strong. We saw Bas make a mistake in slalom, so we were hoping it wasn't going to happen again. But Bas learning from that mistake this morning.
No, clean and calculated for Bas. He wasn't going to do anything else but go through to the round of 8. And this is where it starts getting interesting. Jackson Frew, youngster from Australia, against the experienced Adrian Laurent. It was getting tense here up the back straight, but Jackson Frew gave it to Adrian Laurent, and that was the big upset we were not expecting.
So what does it mean?
And these are runs that could be finals. Tommy Zula from America, Thomas Slavic, the veteran, telling me he hasn't been spending enough time on his hardtail, and it kind of showed here. Because Tommy Zula, he would go on to the round of 8. Former winner of a pump track. So we've got an action-packed round of 8 coming up real soon.
Might sound shocking watching Zula knock out Slavic there, but don't forget, Tommy Zula with a win in Rotorua 2020, a win in Whistler 2019. But one thing's for sure, Andrew, we've had 2 winners in the men's category in the past 5 years, but...
we're going to have a brand new winner, and potentially from another country other than France.
Let's see if we can put an end to this French domination here at Innsbruck RockShox Pump Track Challenge. Niels Bensink, the #1 qualifier, going up against Luca Cometti, who has been so fast all day, not just in pump track, but he was ripping slalom.
Yeah, Bensink has looked good all day in practice and in qualifying, and flawless in the round of 16. But now this is where the pressure builds, but he's going to take the advantage here in Heat 1.
All right, as soon as Luca made it out of the round of 16, we could hear him say, oh man, I got to go up against Bensink.
Yeah. Do you listen? listen or do you look at the light? I listen. I do too. That was not great.
That's interesting. They're sharing some inside tips there. It's probably not something I would like to do while I'm competing.
Luca is such a sponge for information too. It's like, why not try to get a little bit of information? He's such a strategist. Inspector Gadget out there holding his own. Well, look what we got next over here. This guy had 4th the last World Tour stop at Pump Track, New Zealand 2021. He's a rider who's such a fixture on the scene now. Tuhoto Ariki Pene. Take a look at this list of accolades.
Yeah, no stranger to the podium. Look at that. King of Crankworx in 2021, 2nd. And all those stops, there was those sort of summer series stops in New Zealand. He was picking up hardware all the way through that. And he's doing great on the World Cup downhill circuit, getting picked up by Mondraker. So the future is very bright for Pene.
All right, Tuhoto going up against Colin Hudson. New Zealand versus America here. Tuhoto, the 5th qualifier. Hudson, number 13 on the day.
Hopping into that first big roller, getting really good drive down the first straight, and he's got a bike length, or at least half a bike length over Colin here. Colin, a former winner of a pump track, so he's not going to want to let this guy get ahead of him, but look at it, neck and neck.
Oh, what's it going to be? Colin Hudson snuck across the line faster, only by 0.04. I feel like Colin came from behind there a bit. Tuhoto looked like he was leading the charge. I want to talk about Tuhoto for a second, though. Tuhoto is one of those, he's one of those examples of the classic phenomenon we see where we bring the World Tour somewhere and then world-class talent joins the World Tour after the opportunity is brought to their home country. Tuhoto, an absolute fixture on the scene right now. And I can only imagine what's going to happen when we bring the World Tour to Australia. Can't wait to bring that opportunity for the fans to see their favorite riders up close and personal, and it'll be interesting to see how many of those fans turn into future World Tour riders. Look at this. Bas Van Steenbergen at the top of the list there for the fastest time of the day. Bas Van Steenbergen, the number 3 qualifier, going up against Tegan Cruz, the number 6 qualifier.
A sluggish start for Tegan Cruz. He's going to need to really get on the gas here. But Bas Van Steenbergen has looked great all day as well. We know how well he can ride, and he's... Wow!
Jeez.
Tegan Cruz does pull back some time there.
I think Bas got him by a bit. 0.07. Bas.
7/100s. That is so close. Great ride from the junior Tegan Cruz, pulling back some time when he needed it.
Now, Tegan was a name we were talking about a ton on the Cliff Crankworx Summer Series. Oh boy, okay, so is this going to be similar to what we saw during dual slalom this morning where we get some slow-mo replays? I'll bet the riders wished we had cameras that weren't so amazingly high definition and high frame rates, because we can tell anytime somebody does something that remotely resembles missing a gate. What do you think there at home?
I'm not too worried. On first glance, it looked like he's on his side of this pole.
Oh.
Look at the base of the pole. I think he's on the right of it, which is his lane.
Well, you
I
know
would
we
be
saw?
happy with that if I was a judge. But
No,
I'm not a judge.
I know. Let me tell you what we saw this morning in dual slalom. George Brannigan rode over the pole, and they called it a 1.5. So I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I imagine the reason why we're seeing so many replays is it's under review. Let's talk about Tegan Cruz for a second, though. This kid was doing the Cliff Crankworx Summer Series in 2020. So many great results. And now here we go, seeing him on the World Tour competing against Bas Van Steenbergen, the man with the fastest time of the day. Looks like everything's all good for Tegan Cruz as we load the next heat into the gate. Jackson Frew going up against Tommy Zula. Number 10 versus number 2 for qualification results.
Oh, momentum on Jackson Frew's side after taking out Aiden Aron. He's got the jump in the first straight. Now, Tommy Zula is no stranger to a pump track win. BMX background, we know that he's going to get stronger and stronger throughout this run here. And there you have it. He's taken a lead in this last straight.
Wow. Zula's just looking ridiculous today. Tommy Zula, the number 2 qualifier, took out Slavic. We talk about Jackson Frew. He took out Lerone. So we're talking about 2 former Kings of Crankworx out of the competition because of these 2 riders right here. But only one can make it into the next round. We affectionately refer to that next round as the semifinals. That's where you want to find your name right there. Will it be Bensink or Kometi? Bensink has the advantage, that #1 qualifier, but Kometi playing good defense, just a quarter of a second behind. Tuhoto Riki Penny only 0.04 behind Hudson. Van Steenbergen, another tiny margin over Tegan Cruz. And Tommy Zula, we just saw, put that quarter of a second on Jackson Frew. So run #1 of the round of 8 in the books for the men and the women, which means we'll get the women back up to the top of the course, switch sides, do it all over again. If you're enjoying the broadcast here today, we got plenty more coming your way. Tomorrow it's all about speed and style. Kicking that off 6:30 p.m. local time. And then Saturday is slope style time. And then race fans rejoice. Downhill. The Deuter Downhill kicking off on Sunday to wrap up stop #1 of the 2022 Crankworx World Tour, which will undoubtedly be exactly what we've wanted for the last couple of years, you know? The crowds are back. Take a look at this. The whip-off had 3,000 screaming fans last night. So the Austrian fans here are always enthusiastic, and they love nothing more than cheering on their home turf riders. So Valley Hall, obviously one of those. We caught up with her for a little bit of a bike check earlier. Take a peek.
Matt Gallagher here, and I'm working for RockShox Trek Racing. I'm taking care of Valley Hall and Tegan Cruz. Normally we are only doing downhill, but like here it's versatile. We do like dual slalom, pump track, downhill. It's a pretty cool event to be here, and it's exciting. It's totally different because normally we do a lot of stuff at the World Cup, but now don't really have time to go deep in the settings. Just pump up the tires and try to do the sag on suspension, make sure the brakes are working, and good to go. This is a Valley Hall Trek Top Fuel. It's a 130mm of travel bike with 29er wheels. She's also riding the new RockShox Bike Ultimate. That new fork has new features, like, for example, you have a new Charger 3 dampers. It's basically like a smoother way to be able to adjust your suspension. You have like a low-speed compression, a high-speed compression, and low-speed rebound. All the settings are totally independent now. You can basically find exactly what you want. It's super simple to adjust suspension. Also, that fork has a new features. We call it the Buttercup. Basically, the Buttercup helps you to reduce vibration in your hand, so it's a smoother ride, it's an easier ride. And also you have those pressure release valves that help you to have a super nice fork dialed all the time. It's stiff enough to be able to smash the trail or jump, or if you want to drop the travel, then you can have a super light fork and do some cross-country action. That's what bike is all about.
You see some far simpler bikes out here for the RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck, because you know what, you don't even need a chain, you don't need rear suspension, you just need some teeny tiny 26-inch wheels, about 80 mils of travel up front, you're good to go. You know who else is good to go? Keilani Hines. She has been climbing that ladder for so long on that quest for the Queen title. I remember those days when she was battling it out with her hero Jill Kintner, and she has continued to be so successful. Look at all those wins, look at all those podiums, Andrew.
Yeah, but she'll be looking to go one better though, because if you look at that result, she's missing one here in Innsbruck. And Mathilde Bernard, who we haven't spoken about, is not here, which was also going to be a bit of French domination. She's won the last two.
So Keilani Hines, second here last year, second at the last World Tour stop in New Zealand. Now she goes up against Needsweeds. She's the #1 qualifier.
Good first half of this lap for Keilani Hines. She has the advantage as well, so playing it pretty safe here. Hopefully can conserve a little bit of energy. Yes, it's only 19 seconds of track. But when you're going flat out, all the lactic acid builds up, and it is really horrific, actually, how sore it is on the legs.
Way to go. Keilani Hines, the first competitor in our RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck to secure a spot into the semifinals. This is how she did it. In a gazillion frames per second on a nice sunny evening. to smooth jazz.
Smooth, yeah. Super funny seeing them without chains, but that's just no pedaling allowed here. It is all pumping. It is all how much momentum you can generate on those rollers and in the berms, because you can pump a berm as well, as you know, Cam.
A quiet bike, just the smooth sound of smooth jazz. All right, Harriet Burbidge Smith here in the gate. Such a powerful rider. We caught up with her earlier talking about cornering. She had this to say.
And the people that break but don't break before the corners and just commit to it are usually the ones that come out on top, but it's hard to do that sometimes. It's easy to give your brake a little tap and then you think you're sweet and then you come out of the corner with way less speed. So I think keeping off the brakes in pump track is the way to go for the corners.
Yeah, well said there for Haz. You really don't know if you made the right decision in terms of braking until you come out of that corner. You're either patting yourself on the back or picking yourself up off of your back. Sheila Reno with a quarter second to make up behind Harriet Burbidge Smith. Gate about to drop.
So can Sheila Reno reel back in that 0.2 disadvantage that she has? Harriet Burbidge Smith looking good there. Can she stay off the brakes like she spoke to before this run? How committed are these ladies here coming into this final berm? What is it going to be? Well, Harriet Burbidge Smith with a bit more experience over Reno, and she will take it and advance to that semi-final matchup against Keilani Heinz.
Way to be. That'll be a good heat.
Yeah, that was
Harriet Burbidge Smith against Keilani Heinz in the semi-finals, heat number 1. We heard her talking about cornering early. It seems like she practices what she preaches.
Absolutely. Looking as far out of the turn as she can. Jumping into the backside of these rollers. Awesome performance from her here in that round of 8. But she's going up against number 1 seed Keilani Heinz in that next round.
No big deal. All right, this will be good. I like this. This is the young up-and-coming talent, Jenna Hastings, with the fastest time of the day. If you look at the bottom left side of the screen there, fastest time belonging to Jenna Hastings. She's going up against Keilani Buchanan. Caroline with 3 pump track wins on the World Tour. Can she make it for Jenna Hastings with the advantage of a quarter second? Here we go.
So the youngster from New Zealand, big talent, coming off a 2nd place in the Leogang World Cup, so she must be feeling confident here. Now Caroline Buchanan, she is a rider that can perform under pressure, and the pressure is on here. What is it going to be? Yeah, she's got the advantage.
Wow.
This is going to be big enough to advance.
You know what? Wisdom and experience pays off right there over youthful exuberance and enthusiasm. Caroline Buchanan looking to add another medal to her gigantic collection. Caroline Buchanan making it into the semifinals.
Yeah, didn't even get the best start there, but this is where she excelled. Wow, running nice and wide on that turn as well. The BMX background paying off here. Caroline Buchanan storming through to the round of 8. We'll have to keep an eye on the tracks because sometimes one side has a small advantage. That can also play into the factor. And as a rider, you've got to be aware of that and not get too despondent if you're technically on the slower track.
Well, great to see Caroline Buchanan making it into that semifinals. Caroline, it's so great to have you back on the tour. You look stronger than ever, and you know what? I know nobody forgot about you. Everybody's so excited to see you back. What's between your ears these days? How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, to be honest, Cam. I'm just like super obsessed with free ride and freestyle and tricks. You know, that keeps me up at night. So I feel a bit rusty on the racing, but I'm stoked for just the progression of women's free ride right now.
No, you're not looking rusty. You're talking about free ride. I've been watching your Instagram. You're slaying it. I'm assuming we're going to be able to see you in Speed and Style tomorrow, right?
100%.
Yes. Well, tomorrow's tomorrow. Today's today. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll cheer you on along the way.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good stuff there from Caroline. securing herself a spot in the semifinals.
Maybe downplaying it a little bit, talking about the tricks. I know
like
that
it.
when
You know what? I was
with the
talking-
race goggles on, there's no way she's thinking about tricks. She wants to win this.
Baya's in the same boat. I was talking with her earlier in the athlete lounge, and she's got the free ride bug, been riding in Virgin, so really cool to see these riders excited about free ride, but excited to get back in the Crankworx World Tour. We got Jordy Scott, second qualifier against Kathy Kuipers right now.
Yeah, and Jordy Scott has that advantage, so just needs to keep it on 2 wheels, not get too complacent, and there you have it. She should advance here.
Well done there, Jordy Scott, backing up that second place qualifying result. She'll go up against Caroline Buchanan in the semifinal. That'll be a good one.
So Jordy Scott becoming one of Crankworx' favorite riders, winning that speed and style, but this is pump track. Qualifying in the second position, she'll go up against Buchanan, who qualified in third. Now Hines up at the top there, still our favorite, will go up against Burbidge Smith from Australia.
It's a good looking semifinals bracket for the women there. Hines against Burbridge Smith, Buchanan against Scott. Nobody lower, nobody higher than 5th qualifier making it through here, which just tells us we've got some consistent riders out there. And the guy who's been consistent all day is this guy on your screen right now, Luca Cometti. I believe it was 4th place in the slalom earlier today. Always the strategist. Luca's back by a quarter second. He's got his own strategy for starting. Niels Bensink, the #1 qualifier, with the advantage.
Yeah, speaking of consistency, he has been so consistent but so quick. Niels Bensink, what is it going to say here on this final straight? Oh, it is going to be too much for Luca Cometti. Commanding win there, and he'll be into the semi-final, our first rider to book his spot in the round of 4.
Well, that #1 qualifier, let's listen.
Out of the gate, I watched the lights that time. I'm gonna do that too. It's not gonna work on the audio.
So,
Like, fuck it, whatever.
oh my, see, okay, we saw that in the round of 16 before the broadcast, and we watched the replay again. I've never seen somebody do that start right there. He pelvic thrusts right into the handlebars and like literally holds it for so long. And it seems to like give him the turbo jets out of the gate.
Yeah, trying to get his weight on the front wheel there into the roller. What are you calling it?
Well, I mean, we have
Pelvic
the slippery
thrust or
salmon
the-
and something else. I'm going with the Elvis Presley.
The Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good, I'm glad. Look at that. I mean, is he wearing a cup?
Well, it wasn't quite enough because Niels Bensink, they're sitting there together, sharing strategies. But Niels Bensink, I think you need to keep it to yourself, my man. You are into the round of 4 here.
Niels
Potentially
Bensink.
booking yourself off to the finals. There's still a lot of racing still to go till we hand out the hardware.
This one's a drag race here. Colin Hudson leading things out only by 0.04 over New Zealand's Tohoto Ariki Penny. They're off.
America versus New Zealand. New Zealand out front. Penne with the jump. But Colin Hudson brought it back in the last heat. What can he do here? The youngster looking like he's a wheel ahead.
yeah.
Yes, he's a bike league there. This is going to be enough, I think.
Oh, that's going to be enough for sure. Tohoto Ariki Penny advances into the semifinals. Oh, Tohoto is going to be going up against Niels Bensink.
He did out-qualify Hudson, so it's not a huge surprise there. Penne has had pace from qualifying. Clearly excited here in pump track. The youngster from New Zealand booking his spot in the semi-finals. What a run by him. Well, look at that start, Cam. It was pretty much all done after that start.
Tohoto, I mean, pump track, downhill, the guy's got it all. Like you said, it's exciting to see him pick up a new ride this year. He deserves it. And second place in the King of Crankworx overall hunt last year. This is the kind of guy we're going to be watching all season, competing in multiple disciplines, going for that crown. It'll be Bensink versus Tohoto Ariki Penny for heat #1 of the semifinals. Well, what's the story going to be for heat number 2? Will it be Bas Van Steenbergen, who's currently leading the charge by virtually nothing, or the youngster Tegan Cruz? 2 Canadians going head-to-head here, but only one will survive.
Sloppy start from Tegan Cruz. He's a little bit behind, but he can make this up. Bas Van Steenbergen, 2021 King of Crankworx, will not want to go out early here tonight. Tegan Cruz, has he got any of it back? No, it's not going to be enough. I think the lane that Bas is on is a little quicker. It certainly seems that way.
Nice work, dude. Good stuff, bud. That was awesome.
So you're saying that rider's left lane maybe a little bit faster after we've seen so many heats now?
Yeah, it's seemingly looking like that, and the riders must know that as well, because Bas was pretty calm, even though he had a little bit to make up.
Knowledge is key, right? Like if you know where to kind of hold back a little bit and when to push, that could make the difference, making your way through all these different brackets. Bas making out of yet another bracket into the top 4 here today in the RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck. So explain to me, we're going to watch a full replay here where you're seeing some time benefits here on the rider's left course.
Well, I mean, it's just some guys like to turn left a little bit better than right. So if there's a tight turn, then maybe they can do that turn better. But, you know, it's minuscule. You know, even if it's 0.2 faster, that's really going to help a rider. And that's kind of what we're seeing here.
Yeah, when we're seeing gaps that are under a tenth of a second, you know, like any advantage that you can find out there is going to play into your favor. Bas Van Steenbergen into the next round, but the big question at the moment is who will he be lining up against in that semifinal matchup. Another little peek at the times of the day. Bas, fastest time of the day there, 19.1. Tommy Zula, the number 2 qualifier, going up against Jackson Frew. Tommy Zula with the advantage of a quarter of a second. He's on the rider's right side of the course, left side of your screen at home.
So this will be interesting to see. Oh, but that was a messy start from Jackson Frew. I was going to say, if that lane is faster, this is where it can help him. He upset one rider already. Can he do another? Tommy Zula, winner of 2 pump tracks before this. Coming out hot of that last turn.
Oh,
yeah, you see Jackson Frew making up time.
Keep in mind, quarter of a second. Tommy's got it.
Good job, bro. Good job. You did good. Kill it.
Yeah, Tommy seemed pretty cool, calm, calculated. He kind of knew exactly where he was compared to Jackson Frew, pushing enough as he needed to get through.
Look at that hop there. Both of them taking a very similar approach to gate starting without a chain. So Tommy Zula, number 2 qualifier. I always really like to watch that number 2 qualifier because, you know, it's a bit of an easy choice to root for number 1 qualifier. That's not fun. So I'm always rooting for that number 2 qualifier.
I did too, so.
Tommy Zula delivering. Let's listen.
Really yeah, yeah. Oh. Oh, that's it. That's so nice. What a day.
I always like listening to Tommy talk after a run. He always is so fired up.
Yeah, he doesn't hold anything back, and look at it. Bensink, your number 1 qualifier, he'll go up against Penne in 5. Now, Van Steenbergen has looked the fastest here in these rounds. Did he play it safe in qualifying, and then rounding it out, he'll go up against Zula, who qualified in 2nd.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you have for the finals?
I'm going to put Bensink in the finals.
Yep.
And with him, I'm going to go with potentially, which is a wild card, Van Steenbergen, because on paper he's only in 3, but it looks like he's running the fastest times on track. So he's got the momentum on his side. I'm going to put him in the finals there.
I like your logic. I like it. It's a sound logic you have here. Well, before we get back into action here at the RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck, I want to remind you how many more events we still have to come here at the first stop of the 2022 Crankworx World Tour. Look at this crowd.
Hey guys, welcome to Crankworx Innsbruck
2022.
We're going to give you a preview of each course here in Innsbruck. This is the Red Bull Supercourse preview.
course, new start feature. Big step down. Oh, it's amazing.
Boom!
That was sick.
There she is, the chorus.
Okay, well, if after that you're not sticking around for the rest of the competitions throughout the week and weekend, then you're not my kind of person. You can go do something else. But the real mountain bike fans are going to hang out with us for the next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, full of competition, speed and style, slope style, downhill. It's going to be good. But we're right in the middle of pump track right now, so let's get back to talking about that. Keilani Hines, your #1 qualifier, into the semifinals, going up against Harriet Burbidge Smith, your #5 qualifier. On a collision course is Kialani Hines and Jordy Scott, your 1 and 2 qualifiers. But we got Caroline Buchanan. We've got Harriet Burbidge Smith, and anything can happen.
We can just ask that the crowd stays quiet until the gate drops.
Did you hear that? This is a great problem to have. All right, it's 2022. We've got our on-site announcers asking politely if the crowd would please keep it down so the riders can hear the gate drop. It's a sick problem to have.
This is the best. This is what these riders train for. Keilani Heinz off to a rocket start there. Burbidge Smith is going to have to push hard. Keilani Heinz coming off a win last year. What can she do, though? This is heat 1 of the semi-final match. And Burbidge Smith is out front. That lane must be a little bit quicker.
I think your theory is proving true. So, Harriet Burbidge Smith crosses the finish line first by 0.3. Keilani Hines with some work to do, but she will be able to go switch courses, ride that course that you've deemed potentially a little bit faster.
Yeah, and this is where you're going to have to stay calm. She's going to have to not blame herself. Not that she was slow, it's potentially the track. So Keilani Hines has got some work cut out for when we go into run number 2 of this first semi-final matchup. But Burbidge Smith rode a great race, then she'll take that advantage.
Yeah, it was that final section. She just got shot out of a cannon.
Wow, we're live.
You sure are.
Should we tell her? You sure are. This is
Say some crazy stuff. Give us something to laugh at.
Crankworx World Tour in Innsbruck. You are definitely live, and you are definitely taking the lead into that next run.
Ooh, and we definitely
not
have
a
a
dream.
good heat. Look who's in the gate. Caroline Buchanan going up against Jordy Scott. Caroline Buchanan, the 2-time Olympian. Jordy Scott, the 2021 champion for speed and style right here in Innsbruck just a year ago.
We're going to see both of them in speed and style, but we have a race here. Caroline Buchanan against Jordy Scott, America versus Australia. And the American coming out behind Caroline Buchanan on that fast lane will take the lead into the next round.
Caroline is so on point. After everything she's gone through the past 2 years, it's good to see her on such a huge pace racing.
Yeah, that graphic seemed to
That's okay. We got eyeballs, huh? We saw it.
We're paying attention. I hope you guys at home are paying attention. This is the semi-final matchup. Heat number 1 here. Oh, and look what we have, Cam.
Yes, please.
Bensink, #1 qualifier, hasn't put a foot wrong just yet against the youngster Penne.
Mistakes for right now when it really counts.
Did I just give him the commentator's curse?
You did.
I won't tell him where I'm staying for him to find me if that happens.
Niels Bensink, your #1 qualifier, spotless on the day, going up against New Zealand's Tohoto Ariki Penny, run #1 for their heat in these semi-finals.
Penne coming into his own, taking second in the King of Crankworx World Tour last year. Niels Bensink took a first place, as you see there on the graphic, in Silver Star in 2021.
Yeah, Tohoto may have come in second in the overall last year, but he definitely won the after party at the final stop. I'll give him that.
Hey, that's my kind of guy. Well, I know who I'll be rooting for there. No offense, Niels Bensink. So both of these guys have wins at what we call, let's call it maybe the Summer Series events, not the World Tour events.
Yeah.
Now can one of them go on to the final and potentially win their first Crankworx World Tour?
So something else to touch on here, you know, 2022 also has a King and Queen of Crankworx title up for grabs. Tohoto Ariki Penny obviously looking to climb that one extra spot. You don't get silver crown. Only one gold. Best we can here. Going up against the #1 qualifier in Niels Bensink.
Great start from Pene, and on that faster lane, this could really be good for him. But Bensink, #1 qualifier, I don't know if he's been pushed enough yet, because he's not on the fastest times of the day at the moment. And yeah, I think that's what he needed. He just needed someone to push him a little bit. Wow, that was an incredible fast second half of that lap. That is going to be a bit dangerous for the other riders, because I was thinking he wasn't getting pushed that much, and he was just doing what he needed to do, almost conserving energy as well. And there you see it. When the pressure was on him, he delivered.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those situations where on that final berm, some of these riders ride that berm in such a way where it looks like they just get shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, he had a messy first straight there. Pene had a great jump. But this is where Bensink just put the heat on in the second half of this lap. So visuals here of Pene. Doesn't look like he did anything wrong. Eyes on the prize for Bensink. He was all business on this last straight.
I mean, that's fun to watch.
Oh, it's just incredible bike control. Just putting the back wheel exactly where you want. Hopping into the backside of those rollers.
Hey guys, we need a little speaker down there, right? Just, hey guys. Yes, look at this. Bas Van Steenbergen against Tommy Zula. Zula, the #2 qualifier. Bas, the #3 qualifier. First run in their semifinal heat. I know who you have in this one. Let's see what happens.
10 scenes here on heat #1. Looks like good start from both these riders. Wow, neck and neck down the first straight. My rider, Bas Van Steenbergen, against Tommy Zula, but I'm a fan of Zula as well. He's won these events before, so he knows what to do. Coming rocketing out of that final straight. On the faster lane, Zula with a small advantage.
You know what? Bas looked like he had a little bit of a roost incident on the final berm, but he really made up speed on the straightaway and held it tight. 0.1 is the differential.
Oh, what a race. That could easily be a final.
All right. Let's see, I don't know how much of this replay we're gonna see, but I feel like in the final left-hander, Bas scrubbed a little bit of speed, lost a little bit of back tire traction with all the G-forces he was pulling in that left-hand berm.
So clinical here from Zula. We're gonna see him, but we're coming into the berm you're referencing, Cam.
Here we go.
Didn't really get to see it, but he was a little sluggish up that final straight. He might have just lost traction in that second last berm.
When you're pulling so many forces in that berm, those tires, under all that pressure, you know, high tire pressure on these bikes here. What do you say, 60 minimum PSI?
Oh, easily, man. Probably 120 PSI in the fork or something crazy. But yeah, pump track. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done a few hot laps, but when I used to train for downhill, we used to kind of go and train on a pump track. And man, even one fast lap would just have you so out of breath.
Oh, your whole body without even
it's like a full body workout.
It's the best. You got to do it. You got to do it weekly, and then you got that fitness. These riders have been training for this moment right here. Excited to kick off the 2022 season a little bit later than usual because we've moved our New Zealand event out to November, but then we'll be back again next year in New Zealand earlier on.
Next two riders, Keilani Hines leading the makeup.
So Keilani Hines, a little bit of work to do. She's 0.3 behind Harriet Burbidge Smith. Harriet, your #5 qualifier. This would be impressive if she's able to knock out your #1 qualifier, find herself in that gold medal matchup. In both of these heats for the women, we've got the lower qualifying rider with the advantage going into the second run.
So guys, here we have it. Keilani Heinz with a little bit of a lead here. I think it's on the faster lane for sure. Look at that. Rocketing out of that final berth. Keilani Heinz is going to be enough. That is definitely going to be enough. Look at that. First lady to punch her ticket into the finals. Keilani Heinz, your #1 qualifier.
She did it, but Harriet Burbidge Smith made her work for it. She had to earn that one right there. Keilani Heinz, your #1 qualifier, doing her job and making it into the gold medal matchup. But that is not the last you'll see from Harriet Burbidge Smith. She'll secure a spot in that bronze medal round.
So awesome scenes here, getting the slow-mo camera. Eyes on the prize, Keilani Heinz. Not a lot of chitter-chatter between those two, even though the matchup is done, Kev.
Got a couple more events this week. They're just like, all right, well, this one's done. Let's just start thinking about the next one. Yep. Another rider who's going to be competing in a whole lot of events out here, putting a huge focus on Crankworx is Keilani Buchanan, returning to the scene. And take a look at the path of these two riders in order to make it into this situation. It's a long day. We've watched round of 8, we're watching round of 4, but it all started with qualifying, then round of 32, round of 16. So it's not an easy path out here to that gold medal round. And who will it be to join Kialani Hines? Will it be Keilani Buchanan? Will it be Jordy Scott? Caroline has the advantage.
Final step on the podium.
So it looks like we have a little bit of a delay in the start gate there. Let's kind of reminisce about their first run between Keilani Buchanan and Jordy Scott. Jordy Scott, #2 qualifier, but she's not sitting there with a star next to her name going into the second round. Caroline, she's getting faster as the day goes. We've seen her climbing the ranks of the fastest times of the day. And that's kind of what's important, isn't it? It's kind of trying to peak at the end.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, you want to qualify fastest. It is critically important, but at the same time, you want to be able to build momentum. You want your fastest run of the day to be in that final, or maybe when you need it here in the semi-final. So Keilani Buchanan, so much experience, and you can see it. She's been building speed as the day has gone on.
So some of the competitors out here, they have their specialties, and some of them kind of ignore their specialties and they go for that queen title, they go for that king title. Do you think, based on what we've seen so far from Caroline and what she's been putting out on social media, you think she's focused on the overall more than we've ever seen before this year?
Yes and no, but you heard her. She's just fixated on doing tricks, free ride, learning those sort of things. And sometimes I think you need to do more events. So if she's not going to do the downhill, she might lose points there. So we'll see, but it really helps when she can win an event like Pump Track. She's going to do well in speed and style. So then maybe slalom, she starts getting some results, and that helps her quest for the Queen of Crankworx.
She's sitting in 7th right now based on the slalom result today. So, if you don't play, you can't earn any more points. So, Keilani Buchanan playing the games that we had up for grabs today with dual slalom and Pump Track Challenge. And she's, in the round of 4 right now. So at minimum, she'll find another 50 points. But she's got her eyes on those maximum 100 points for first place, I got to imagine. The speed and style thing for the women's category, last year we saw backflips for the first time. And this year they're doing backflips in practice. If you look at Caroline's Instagram, she's doing front flips And it's happening, like, it's happening fast. Like, this progression is, if you look at the tricks and how quickly they're, like, accomplished for the first time, the milestones, it's a way more sped up progression than when men were learning these same tricks. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been awesome to witness, and we're hearing rumors she might be throwing that front flip in the speed and style, so that's something not to be missed. At the same time, didn't the judges have to quickly change the scoring because they didn't have scoring for backflips? We didn't really know or feel that you might have seen that already, and now it's, you know, it's a thing of the past. Backflips are being done, now it's front flips, so the progression is awesome.
Yeah, they build out the scoring system based on what tricks are being done at the time, and that means they have to throw out the scorecards on a rapid pace right now because it's changing so much. But I think back to a time when there was only one guy in the entire world slopestyle scene who was doing front flips, and it was like magic. It was like this fake thing this guy was able to figure out how to do, and nobody else could figure out how to do it. And you know, that was years and years after people started doing backflips. So to see just 1 year after the first backflip in competition right here last year, we're seeing, you know, we might see a front flip because Caroline's been practicing and she looks so consistent with them. There's a pretty quick rate of progression. It's fun to have the opportunity to bear witness to all of that. As we wait here, a little bit of a course delay in the middle of the semifinals for the RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck.
Yeah, this is one of the most difficult things for a rider to face, and often experience will shine through because you're just there on the start gate in your own head thinking about all sorts of things you wish you weren't thinking about. So potentially this is going to play into Caroline's favor, I think, with all her experience in that BMX background, Olympics. You know, she's got such a pedigree on the race side.
So Caroline absent from our Crankworx scene for so long, but let's take a trip down memory lane all the way back to 2017 when Caroline was going up against the GOAT, Jill Kintner, at the Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck. Slightly different course back then. It was redesigned in 2018. But I mean, she's been doing this for a long time. Anytime she signs up, she's got a chance of winning. And there we go. That's how she took it. Hey, you got to think, like, put yourself back in those times. Like, nobody beat Jill.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, wow, you have to be so ecstatic. And it's a compliment to Jill because she was the GOAT and potentially is the GOAT still with the amount of wins she's had, especially in pump track.
Yeah, it's crazy to think back to when, you know, if you were betting on those races back in those days, you would just be foolish to not bet on Jill. It was just like, you know, the sun's going to rise. Jill Kintner is going to get the gold medal. And nowadays the competition is so tight, it's anybody's ball game, which really makes it interesting for the overall queen hunt. But, I mean, Jill Kintner, she would take that queen crown as well. And it's opened up to the younger generation now. Jill's moved on, doing other things, still involved in the bike industry. So if you're watching, Jill, what up? We're talking about you.
Yeah, huge compliment and shout out to Jill. Maybe we'll see her back at one of these things. Come on, Jill, come have some fun with us.
Whistler, not very far away from Bellingham.
Or Australia.
Oh,
you know, it is in Cairns.
Yeah.
Her husband is from Australia.
All right, well.
Who knows? I'm just throwing a couple of rumor mill out there.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. You know what else would be pretty cool? If we could just start racing again.
Like I said, this is, you know, it's tough for us. We're filling air. We're trying to entertain you guys. But this is way worse for the riders. They are still in the starter blocks. We can see them, you know, out the corner of our eye. And they are literally still stuck on the blocks there. Caroline having some fun with the camera. But, man, it is excruciating.
So, if we're thinking about our last Crankworx World Tour stop that we had, the finals of the 2021 season, we saw the return of Keilani Buchanan. And I'm going to give you one guess as to where she found herself on the podium. But we're going to watch this, so you're not going to have to guess. Let's go check this out. Any guesses? Any guesses? Yeah, history has a tendency to repeat itself. Will it repeat itself today? This was Keilani Buchanan going up against, it looks like Keilani Hines here. And so consistency is so important in this sport. We just saw her take the win in 2017. We saw her here return in 2021. Take the win again, pick up where she left off after her injuries, struggles. She's strong, she's back, but she's leaving the gate. So I guess we're going to be, this is not like a trip down memory lane. This is probably going to be a bit of an extended vacation down memory lane. We're probably just going to like.
And I think that's the experience.
This is smart right here. This is like.
Yeah, because she says, I mean, call me when we're going to ride. She wants to keep warm. Otherwise, she's just stuck there balancing on that gate at about a 30-degree angle, keeping herself sort of loose is not that easy.
All right, so we're hearing what's going on. Caroline playing it smart and getting out there to stay warm. That's where the veteran expertise comes into play. Jordy's going like, yeah, whatever, you dance around. I'm good. I'm ready to rock. So we thought there was going to be a rerun. They decided that they had the scoring dialed in, so no rerun necessary. We will, in fact, drop our second run of this semifinal heat here, where Keilani Buchanan has the advantage over Jordy Scott. Jordy Scott, bronze medal here just 1 year ago. So if she doesn't make it out of this round, she still has the opportunity to pick up where she left off, but she has her eyes on the prize. She wants to knock Caroline out, getting that gold medal matchup. All right, we're getting close. They're standing up. There we go.
So after all that weight, Keilani Buchanan with the whole shot into that first turn. Jordy Scott has got a lot of ground to make up here. So one of the winningest pump track riders of our time, Keilani Buchanan. Wow, she is behind, but she's got quite a lot of time to work with.
Okay, that's going to be close once they do the math. Wow! Caroline advances. That advantage from run number 1 paid off. She's pretty stoked they didn't have to rerun that run number 1. But Jordy Scott, still an opportunity to break even from her performance last year. She picked up the bronze. She can do it again. She'll roll over into that small final against Harriet Burbridge Smith. Keilani Hines will be going up against Keilani Buchanan.
So after that long wait, experience did shine through. Keilani Buchanan able to get a really good start there. She had quite a lot of time to work with as well, but Jordy Scott was pushing hard, trying to keep her honest here. The crowds are getting into it. Keilani Buchanan stamping her spot in the gold medal matchup. She'll face against Keilani Heinz, her #1 qualifier. Burbidge Smith will be in the bronze medal matchup against Jordy Scott.
Just like you foreshadowed there. Our last stop, Rotorua 2021, we had Keilani Buchanan, Keilani Hines in the final. History will repeat itself. So if you didn't believe us, here it is in writing, right? It's not true until you see it in writing. Hines and Buchanan in the final. Burbridge Smith and Jordy Scott to the bronze medal round. Stage is set for the women. Time to set the stage for the men. All right, they are loaded up into the gate. Niels Bensink with the advantage over Tehodo Ariki Pene. Niels Bensink, I'll remind you, is our #1 qualifier in today's competition. Tehodo, #5 qualifier. Be quite the performance if Tehodo's able to climb back and eliminate the #1 qualifier from gold medal opportunities. But Bensink has been nothing short of unshakable all day. And when I say all day, it's a long day of racing. 32 to 16, 16 to 18, 18 to 4. And this run will determine the final 2. Maybe we'll just hang out here for a bit again.
Hopefully not for the sake of the riders. But Bensink has quite a lot of experience following that Velo Solution sort of world pump track tour. So he's got a lot of time on that bike, and you can see it paying off here. When he was pushed by Penne, he really just went into another gear.
know, we've seen this all day, whether it be dual slalom or pump track. Consistency on our #1 qualifiers. Always making it into the final round. It's a lot of pressure seeing that #1 next to your name, but it can also encourage some confidence. 0.7 is the differential. Niels Bensink over to Hoto Ariki Pene. There we go.
So nothing to lose here for Pene. Can he put the pressure on Bensink and maybe force a mistake? That might be what he needs.
Hoto's
to get
looking
through
good.
Here. He's looking really good.
Oh, yeah.
Bensink, he's no fool. He knows exactly where he is on track, and he knows exactly where Pene is. Look at him, almost coasting to the finish there.
Bensink has that final corner and that final straightaway just dialed. Niels Bensink backing up that qualification result, securing himself a spot in the gold medal round. Here's how he did it.
So good start from Pene, but Bensink, he is so calculated. Just looks calm, he's not rushed at all, hitting all his marks on this track. And when he came here, he knew exactly where he was and how much time he had to play with.
Look at that. Tire sliding, then it lifts off the ground ever so slightly, allowing him to be weightless over the top of that roller, and then heavy down the backside, like a swing set.
Look at it, look at it.
Oh, so funny. Good stuff here. Now, semifinals heat #2. A guy by the name of Bas Van Steenbergen, AKA your third place qualifier, going up against Tommy Zula, a guy with 2 pump track wins under his belt, #2 qualifier. Who will meet up with Niels Bensink? We're about to find out.
Oh, good start out of both these riders, neck and neck into that first burp. Bas Van Steenbergen potentially on the faster track here. Is it going to pay off coming out of this final turn? It looks like he's a bike ahead. Yeah, he's going to do it.
Wow! Bas Van Steenbergen, like you said, sitting at the top of that fastest time of the day standings, and he's peaking at the right moment.
Yeah, he is doing this exactly how you need to. Qualify well, but make sure you can gain speed throughout the day. Look at him, he's got 2 of the fastest times. He's ahead of Bensink, who just put up a really fast time, but not good enough. So this is telling going into the final.
At the same time as the sun popped through those clouds, Bas popped himself up to the 2 top spots of the fastest times of the day on that leaderboard. Look at that nose tap. Did you see that? It's the subtlety that all equates to milliseconds in your favor. That was quite the slow-mo celebration dance. What was that?
Yeah, you can see he's pumped. Getting to the final is great. You guarantee yourself a medal. You're either going to get gold or you're going to get silver. So you know you've had a good night. So the pressure's almost a little bit off for someone like Bas.
Isn't that funny? Both for the men and the women, it's the 1, 2, 3, and 5 spots that are still alive. So Bensink and Van Steenbergen, aka Bas and Bensink, will duke it out for the gold medal round. And Hoto Ariki Pene and Tommy Zula will determine who's going home with silver, who's going home with bronze. And of course, as we like to remind you, those valuable points for the overall King of Crankworx title hunt. And for the women, #1 qualifier doing her job, getting herself into the gold medal round, Keilani Hines against Caroline Buchanan. But first up, it's the bronze medal matchup, run #1 between Harriet Burbridge Smith on the left side of your screen and Jordy Scott out of the USA. Australia versus USA here. #2 versus #5.
We are off. It's run 1 of the bronze medal matchup. Jordy Scott managing a bronze medal last year. Can she do it again? She's got to get by the Australian. It is neck and neck here halfway through run #1 here. We are going to dish out some hardware soon.
Jordy's fast.
She is very fast. She wants to back up what she did last year. So she'll take the advantage from run number 1 into run number 2 when they switch lanes.
Well, if you're just joining us, you're tuning in at the right time. We're down to the nitty-gritty of the RockShox Pump Track Challenge Innsbruck. A lot of hardware to give away here shortly. Jordy Scott coming out ahead on our first run here in the bronze medal matchup.
A great start by both these women. Jordy Scott started putting the heat down here in the second half of this run. As Cam said, if you're joining us, this is run number 1 of the bronze medal matchup. They will switch lanes and they will go at it again. Lowest combined time is going to take home some hardware.
Jordy Scott always full of smiles here. She took the win in the speed and style last year, which I think will be looked back upon as kind of a catalyst for what's going on in the women's speed and style category. That'll be tomorrow. Today it's all about pumping it up chainless. Tuhoto spinning out the legs either direction he pleases right now, warming up and getting ready to take the stage against number 2 qualifier Tommy Zula. They're off and running.
Oh, great start by Penne. This is just what he needed. Put the pressure on Zula early. Looked a little late out of that turn, so I think he's lost a bit of time compared to Zula. Zula potential on the fast lane. Yeah, he's going to be about a bike ahead. Oh, and late out of that turn. Penne! No, making mistakes when he least needed it.
Substantial gap there for Tommy Zula. Crossing 0.7 ahead of Tuhoto.
So just too many small mistakes from Tuhoto there. Zula, clean run for him. He's going to take a big advantage into run number 2 of this bronze medal matchup. So great start from Penne, Cam. But awesome. Then he just started making mistakes as the run went on.
I'd say right here, a good job for Tuhoto.
It's just
not turning that into a worse mistake. You know, it kind of would be easy for that front tire to sneak over the berm like we saw Luca Cometti do earlier this morning in dual slalom. But Tuhoto still in the game. Tommy Zula with the advantage. Now it's time for run number 1 of the gold medal matchup. Your top qualifier of the day still alive in this game, Bensink, but Bas Van Steenbergen has been steadily faster and faster throughout the day. He's the number 3 qualifier. What are you thinking? All right, well, we'll pick up on that in a second. Here we go. The gold medal round. Caroline Buchanan going up against Keilani Heinz. Caroline, 3rd place qualifier. Keilani, the woman to beat today. Number 1 qualification spot. Run number 1. Gold medal matchup. Here we go.
They're off. This is run number 1. We're going to hand out some hardware after these 2 runs. Keilani Heinz, your number 1 qualifier. Drifting a little bit back compared to Caroline Buchanan. What is it going to be here coming down the final stretch? Caroline has a bike length and a half at least. Keilani pushing hard just to avoid too much of a time deficit there.
Remember, she was on that faster side there. No, sorry.
Yeah, Caroline, we think, was on the faster line. That's for sure.
Yeah, there she was, yeah.
She's on her rider's left lane, but she had a great start. Put the power down here. This is so tough mentally for Keilani to accept. Okay, potentially I was on the slower lane, but how much slower is the lane? We don't have that factually for us.
With 1 run to go, I guess it's just all out here. Half a second. Oh, Caroline's lucky she didn't pop out of that berm too late, miss that gate. That was close.
All smiles from Caroline Buchanan, telling us that she's focusing on tricks. I don't know about that tonight. Speaking of focusing, Bensink has been nothing but focused till now.
what are you thinking if you're Bensink? You're the #1 qualifier. You've been spotless all day. But there's this guy over here, Bas Van Steenbergen, who's posted faster times than you.
If you're doing anything but just focusing on that first few meters out the gate, I think you're thinking about the wrong things. You need to just stay doing what he's been doing.
Let's see if he's got an extra gear to click in.
And he
here.
has.
Huge
Look at
start.
it. Focusing on that start. Great start.
What happened to Bas?
Man, big mistake from Bas. But Bensink, wow. He has been clinical so far. But Bas is, wow, how much time did he make up on that lead?
Okay. I can't wait to kind of really dig into this replay because Bas had such a horrendous start, but such a spotless finish. Oh,
they said they couldn't hear the gate. It's almost like it was unexpected when it went. There were no sounds for them.
There was no sound on the gate.
Okay. Yeah, look at what.
He
even
barely
took his
has
hand off.
on, man.
You know what? I wonder if they'll rerun them. We'll see.
Wow, how fast was he? Because he barely got going on that straight, and he made up all that time. Look at that.
Oh, my.
Almost standing still when Bensink was gone. He's 2 bike lengths back, and he's made it all back.
You know what's crazy about this is Bas crossed the finish line first, but he's also saying, hey, that was messed up. So obviously, Bensink wants a restart, but Bas, you know, he's kind of saying that it was messed up too, even though he crossed the finish line first.
If you're Bensink, I don't think you want to restart after seeing that, even though I think he's one of the fastest riders on track. But Bas.
But Bas is going to be thinking, you know what? I would have been that much further in front of him if I actually had a good start. Let's see what they do with this.
Well, this just got interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Bas, I'm asking for a rerun, but I don't write the rules here.
You've been asking for 4 hours. You want to redo it or?
Wow, that's pretty polite from Bas.
You can't redo that shit. Rerun it? No.
See what happens.
No, whatever. But that is, yeah.
So tense moments here at the top of the pump track.
I literally put my hand up before. I heard you scream, and it confused me because I thought maybe we're done. Right. And it, well, yeah, I can't teach you about that now, but well.
So advantage on run #1 into that men's final. 0.262 a second for Bas Van Steenbergen, having to battle back from a ridiculous start.
It's quite a story between these two guys.
Hashtag give them another run, man. They're both pretty polite about this, but Bensink's saying he got distracted by Bas because Bas said, hey, what's going on? So Bas clearly wasn't ready.
So regardless of what they decide to do here, I want to talk about how interesting the story is between these two riders. The Van Steenbergen family grew up in the Netherlands, and you know what? Niels Bensink and Bas Van Steenbergen have been racing together since they were kids. Obviously, the Van Steenbergen family eventually moved to Canada, but these two competitors reunited at the Crankworx Summer Series last year.
Needs to make up 0.43 seconds of a second over.
Or the 3-part Crankworx World Tour stop, I should say.
Once again, crowd, we keep the noise down to a minimum until the
But it'll be interesting to see what they do with that run. It looks like they might just keep it because we've got the next heat loaded up into the gate, which is Jordy Scott and Harriet Burbidge Smith. Jordy Scott with the advantage of 0.4. But Harriet on the faster side now. Can she make up 0.4?
So Jordy Scott looking to repeat what she did last year. She walked away with a bronze medal. It is all to play for. This is run #2 of your bronze medal matchup. Jordy Scott is behind. Is it going to be enough? Oh. So Harriet Burbidge takes a win in that run. But it's not enough.
Wow.
Jordy Scott is your bronze medal winner. Congrats to her. Repeating her result here last year. Awesome riding by these women.
So, how many times are we going to see history repeat itself? It's so interesting when that happens. Harriet.
So Harriet pushing as fast as she could, but Jordy had a great start, and I think just knew exactly what she needed to do because she had an advantage in this run #2.
So congrats there to Jordy Scott grabbing that bronze medal for the second year in a row. And now on to the men. Tommy Zula going up against Tehoto Ariki Penny. Advantage belongs to Zula. That advantage is a 0.7. Tehoto on the fast course. Zula strong out of the gate, but Tehoto ahead of him.
Big start from Toyota. Wow, is it going to be enough though? He has to claw back so much time. Zula looking good here. Wow.
Listen to the crowd.
Penny keeping him honest, but it's not going to be enough. Zula will be a bronze medal winner there. Ecstatic from him.
Zula crossing the line and taking home that bronze medal. Adding that to the trophy bin.
Oh, so close for Toyota. Penne looking for a medal here in Innsbruck. It just wasn't going to be enough. Too many mistakes in run number 1. This being run number 2. Tommy Zula.
Did you hear Tommy say when they crossed the finish line? He said, man, you had it. Couple mistakes at the end for Tehoto.
Yeah, Zula was clean both these runs.
Oh, that was it right there.
Another mistake.
He's squiggling. Just deviating your course a little bit equates to so much time across that line.
Going to the bar.
A new favorite rider.
You heard it there. Drinks are on Tommy Zula. So congrats on a 4th place there to Tehoto Ariki Penny. Tommy Zula grabbing the bronze. We got one more thing left to do. That's give away a gold medal and a silver medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your final.
Keilani Buchanan with the advantage over your number 1 qualifier, Keilani Hines.
Keilani Buchanan, it is a tough order, especially in these finals.
But once again, Keilani on the faster course. I feel like we can comfortably say that now. Gold medal matchup, run number 2. It all comes down to this.
And we're off. Great start from both women here. Caroline just a wheel ahead. Now Keilani, how much can that experience pay off? She's been doing the World Tour for quite a long time now. Is she going to be able to do it? She's ahead. I think this is going to be enough, Cam.
What's it going to be? Let's do the math. Look at that. Keilani Hines does it. She backs up her number 1 qualifying spot with a gold medal.
Wow, almost a changing of the guards. Keilani Hines taking down Caroline Buchanan here. Awesome win for her here in Crankworx. Wow.
Congratulations to Keilani Hines. A well-earned victory there, carrying that number 1 qualification spot all the way into the gold medal round. Despite being behind after run number 1, she held the confidence of the number 1 qualification spot and the knowledge that she's on the faster course. You know what I was noticing during that run? If they're even right about here, then you can expect to see the riders left just skyrocket out of that final berm.
Yeah, that was a great performance from her. Qualifying in first is very difficult. The expectations start building from you and even the people on the side of the track. They know how fast you are. You're going to go on to win. Well, she managed that so well the entire day. Awesome win there for Keilani Hines.
Congrats to Keilani Hines on the gold, Caroline Buchanan on the silver. We got one more bracket left, but before that, we're gonna check in with our champion, Keilani. Congratulations on grabbing that gold medal. Great performance out there today. I mean, the pressure of the number 1 qualification spot, was that more pressure or more confidence building for you?
I think for me today, it was a bit more confidence. Coming off of slalom and not qualifying the best. And then having a good qualifier and feeling good all day, it was more confidence.
Well, that's good to hear. Is this just one of many events you have left for the rest of the week, or are we going to see you again soon? What else are you competing in?
Speed and style's up in the air. I'm not sure, depending on how I feel. But Yeah, maybe Sweden style tomorrow.
Right on. Downhill on Sunday?
No downhill.
No downhill, right on. Okay, well, enjoy this win. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow, maybe we won't, but make sure to soak this one up. Congratulations on backing up that #1 qualifying spot, Keilani.
Thank you.
Well, we got Martin down there getting the crowd going nuts for free stuff. I love the fact that, you know, for the past couple years, we've been able to do this, but, you know, didn't have the energy we have right now. Now we're totally back to normal, to the point where we had the riders asking if the fans could quiet down a little bit so they could hear the gate cadence. So I feel like it's in line to take a look back at run #1, what happened between Bas Van Steenbergen and Niels Bensink. An interesting start here. A lot of noise. Bas sitting down, and he says, whoa, 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 whoa. I was not ready for that start. He holds his hand up, but then he quickly shifts focus, gets down to business, and somehow does this.
Yeah, shame he was not ready for that start. Still sitting, but he rallied back. It was incredible to see how fast he was on track after that issue there with the gate.
So Bas decided to hold on to that time. He crossed the finish line first. I'm sure Niels Bensink kind of agreed, like, okay, cool. Well, you probably would have been faster if you had a good start, so I'll let you keep that. That's going to play in here. It's only a quarter of a second to play for. Niels Bensink, can he make it up? He's on the fast course. The gold medal final run here between Bas Van Steenbergen and Niels Bensink.
It's all to play for. The crowd is roaring here. Bas Van Steenbergen. Can he ride with that anger and determination after that issue in run 1? What is it going to be? It looks like Bensink has got the wheel hands. Oh, he's going to take the gold medal.
That 100% looks like it's going to do it. Niels Bensink grabs the gold, and Bas Van Steenbergen second guesses his decision to hold that first run.
Wow, incredible racing from both those riders, getting faster as the day progresses. Niels Bensink, perfect day for him, qualifying in first place and going on to take that gold medal.
What a crazy turn of events here. Niels Bensink doing what he came here to do after that #1 qualification spot, but Bas having those top times for again, a little bit of a bubble.
From Bas as well. We didn't get to see that, but we saw it now in the replay, but I don't think it was going to be enough. Niels Bensink taking that gold medal. Bas Van Steenbergen, he qualified in third, made it all the way to the final here. Little error with the gate and little error of riding there in this run #2.
Can you believe that? I mean, we've been watching Pump Track all day, so I think it's strange that I'm just being stunned by this, but I just think it's ridiculous. You can get up to this high a speed without a single pedal stroke. These runs are so intense, all this action packed into just a few seconds. What a great show that was. Niels Bensink grabbing the gold, Bas Van Steenbergen taking the silver. All right, so Niels Bensink, congratulations on that gold medal right there. You know what I'm going to ask you. I got to ask you about run #1 in the gold medal matchup. What was it like trying to decide if you guys are going to rerun that, and whose decision was it to just stay with that run?
Well, the crowd was so loud in that final that we just couldn't hear the beep. So I was so confused. I heard Bas scream after the gate, so I thought we stopped, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to hold back, and then I saw him on the way back. I still saw him go. I'm like, oh, I have to go for it, but my head wasn't there, so I kind of messed up my lap a bit, and then we crossed the line, and we talked about a rerun, but I think we both had our disadvantages there, so we just decided it was the way to run it and give it all in the last run, I guess.
Well, it made for a great show. It's so cool to see you and Bas anytime you're side to side in one of these gated formats. How long have you guys been racing together? That's a crazy story.
Yeah, we actually grew up together in Holland. We didn't really race each other directly, but we did hang out a bit, and then we re-met when I moved to Canada, and we're just training together, working on our gates, and yeah, it's a good training partner for sure.
The two fastest guys on the day with no shortage of drama in the final run. Congratulations on backing up that #1 qualifying spot and taking the gold medal.
Thank you, Cam.
Good show, huh, Andrew?
Oh, that was incredible, and what a cool story. It's almost a Cinderella story. They met as youngsters. Now they train in Canada as well, and you can see why. it's easy the two fastest guys on track there were in the final.
That'll be an interesting, yeah.
Sorry, no wonder they were so polite about not wanting a rerun. They're friends, so they've
Totally.
got to take this issue back home if it got any bigger than that.
Yep, no, that's for sure. They want to keep that productive relationship they have right there. I'm sure they both make each other faster, and I know for us, it's going to mean a really exciting season watching them go head-to-head in the coming stops. I'm sure it's not the last time it's going to happen.
No, and I think it's a big win for Keilani Heinz as well with Caroline Buchanan coming back. We all know how many wins she has in pump track. We saw the graphic there, 5 wins. But, you know, I think Keilani Heinz is really coming into her own here as a formidable competitor for, you know, the long term.
We'll divvy out some medals. We'll also crunch the numbers and award some points. And that's always fun. Now our second official Crankworx event here in day 1 of competition. So the leaderboard is continuing to evolve as we work our way through the schedule here at Crankworx Innsbruck 2022. Here's a look at the Queen of Crankworx standings as they sit right now after that pump track race.
Well, there you have it. Keilani Heinz jumps up into the #1 spot after a disappointing slalom. She's in 125 points. Now, Caroline Buchanan, that is great for her because if she starts doing well in speed and style and some other events, that'll be great.
So Andreas Kolb taking the win in the dual slalom earlier this morning, not competing in the pump track, so we're likely to see some shakeups there. I'm curious to see what the King leaderboard looks like as well.
Yeah, and Andreas, will see him in downhill later in the week, so if he can sneak into the top 10, which I'm sure he will because he's coming off his first podium in Leogang World Cup, it's going to be interesting, you know?
Messing with him earlier today. I was, so speed and style? Come on, speed and style. He goes, maybe one of these years. I got a backflip, so who knows? You know, you kind of like, you hold out that big piece of meat and see if they'll bite, you know, once they see those points next to their name. But Andreas Kolb bumped down to 3rd position right now. Look at those first 2 spots.
Well, there you have it. No surprise, Niels Bensink and Bas Van Steenbergen at the top of your Kenner Crankworx, but it is very early in the week as well as very early in the year.
Very early in the year is right. We have so much more to come here at Crankworx Innsbruck 2022. We had slalom earlier this morning. We had pump track today. Tomorrow is going to be amazing. It's going to be speed and style, which we've alluded to a bunch during the broadcast today. A lot of the same riders you've seen today in both broadcasts will be present for that speed and style competition. So I got to say a couple things. Thank you, Andrew Needling, for hanging out here with me in the booth. My man, thank you to you watching at home. And I welcome you to join us tomorrow for speed and style. We'll see you then.